Thanks very much, Fiona. Okay, we'll move on then to the next question, another one for Bob. So BS7671 is reviewed cyclically every 3 years. What changes can be expected in the next amendment to it, and when is this likely to be implemented?
Okay, there is work on Amendment 2 in progress at the moment. JPEL 64, which is a joint BSI and IET committee who oversee the maintenance of that document, have produced a draft DPC, a draft for public comment. They've completed all the technical changes that will be introduced or possibly introduced when it's published in March 2022. The draft for public comment, once it's approved in the autumn of this year, will go out from the 21st of September 2020 to the 11th of December. There's usually a 3-month period allowed for people to read it and to comment. The following year of 2021, they will review the comments they receive on the DPC, and as I say, it should be approved by the end of 2021. November 2021 is the programme date, and as I say, it will be published. The date they've given us is 28th of March 2022. So just over a couple of years' time, there'll be an Amendment 2 book, a new book issued. There will usually be the 6-month date for implementation, so it wouldn't necessarily need to be implemented until September 2022. There is, having looked through it, there's not that many significant technical changes, I would say, but I could narrow that down to 10. In chapter 41, which deals with protection against electric shock, the old argument about RCD protection for socket outlets, well, we did have an exception allowed for that where a risk assessment was carried out. They're talking about doing away with that completely, so there would be no exception for RCD protection for socket outlets rated up to 32 amps, or for mobile equipment rated up to 32 amps. In chapter 42, one of the things that was significant in the 18th edition was app fault detection devices. This new level of protection that was added in as additional protection against arcing faults on final circuits. And in the 18th edition, it was only a recommendation. It was a consideration that the designer might look at. You didn't necessarily need to put them in. Well, in Amendment 2, they're proposing to make them mandatory for single phase and neutral final circuits supplying socket outlets and fixed equipment up to 32 amp rated. And obviously they would still be recommended for all other final circuits, so they're not required on some mains. They wouldn't be required on 3-phase circuitry because you don't think you get 3-phase app fault detection devices. So that's a proposal that's likely to result in, extra cost, I would say. With regard to transient overvolt protection, there was again a lot of lack of clarity in the 18th edition when it was published, whether you needed surge protection devices in domestic installation. So I'm going to clarify that in the proposed draft for public comment. There is new guidance where there's a particular risk of fire. There's a lot of guidance that's coming in on the back of the Grenfell fire. So there would be documented information that would need to be provided where there's a particular risk of fire. So a tall building, if you were involved in the design of an electrical installation in a tall building, that would come under that. And some of the suitable person would need to keep a fire manual, and all that evidence would go into it. There is also extensive rewriting of terminology. In the existing regulations, there's terminology that's well out of date, and they're now introducing, on the back of some input from fire experts, information about protected escape routes and what they are. So there'll be a new appendix in the regs book that gives you guidance on that. A protected escape route being, you know, basically clear of any electrical circuitry apart from maybe emergency lighting and the lighting, or fire detection and fire alarm circuitry. It would be a sterile area as far as electrical installation was concerned. So there'll be information on that. An interesting one in chapter 51 about notices that you stick on the distribution board and consumer units. They're talking about that you need to put some of these notices on the consumer unit. People complain about the consumer unit in their brand new house and covered in all these labels. So they're maybe going to have an exception where if you put that information along with your electrical installation certificate in the guidance to the recipient, your customer, you'll not need to stick these notices on, possibly. As I say, these are all proposals at the moment. Another one, if any of you are involved in new build, is in chapter 54, foundation earth electrodes. If you're involved in a new premises being constructed where there's a foundation, you'll need to install a foundation earth electrode, or possibly a soil embedded ring electrode. So that will be a significant new thing within the scope of BS7671. With regard to inspection and testing, chapter 64 for initial verification of new work, there's been a number of issues raised about installation resistance testing and the damage that can be caused to equipment, and the fact that a lot of the equipment you install, even in a simple domestic installation, prevents you from doing the IR test properly. All cables should be tested at 500 volts DC. All low voltage cables should be tested at 500 volts DC. So that's an absolute must. However, in installations, you'll maybe get equipment, you know, USB socket outlets are common now, dimmer switches, electronic circuit boards and extract fans, smoke alarms. All of that stuff would either prevent you from carrying out that test, or if you did carry out the test, you'd end up completely knackering the equipment. So what they're suggesting is a two-stage process, basically where at first fix stage, before any equipment's connected up, you do a 500 volt test, and then on completion, when you've fitted the equipment, you might do line neutral to earth and reduce the voltage to maybe 250 volts at that stage. But the cables need to be tested at 500 volts, so a two-stage process has been looked at. Another one that will be of interest to most of our members is in Appendix 6, where we've got the model forms. The ECA, our sister organisation south of the border, raised an issue about the schedule of inspections, and for initial verification work, it's very long-winded. It's just basically a list of ticks and areas, and what does it mean to the customer? Virtually nothing. So there is a proposal to reduce that to just a small schedule of inspections, reduced onto page 2 of the electrical installation certificate, and the schedule of inspection for new work, not for periodic inspection, remember, for new work, would be simply a checklist. So you would have that in your toolkit to remind you, and whoever's producing the certification at the end of the day will save themselves a wee bit of grief when they're completing the paperwork that goes to the customer. And then the last one I would highlight, which is a biggie, is a new Part 8, which was mooted in the 18th edition of the DPC for that, which dealt with energy efficiency. It's now called Functional Requirements, and there'll be a new Chapter 82 proposed for prosumers, low voltage electrical installations. That will result in a lot of new definitions in Part 2 that you'll need to become familiar with, I'll have to say. And that allows for regulations on local production and or storage of energy in order to ensure compatibility with the ways to deliver electrical energy to current using equipment, i.e. if the installation needs it, there'll be some sort of control manager that will ensure that all the locally produced electricity is used within the installation, and when it's not required, it will be exported to the grid. So you'll be a consumer and a producer, hence the word prosumer, and that will be effectively managed by some sort of energy control facility. A smart meter. Now, the smart meter programme is, I don't know if it's quite on target, but every home in the UK was supposed to have a smart meter fitted by the end of 2020. So it'll be dependent on that sort of technology being implemented. So that's just a wee short summary. Obviously, Select will be looking, we're actively involved in the production of Amendment 2, and we will be commenting on the DPC. But if you've got any issues that you wish to raise regarding the proposed changes, and this will be the thing as well, this is the first time they flagged this up in a DPC, you'll only be allowed to comment on the proposed changes this time. In the earlier versions of the wiring regulations, guys got a hold of the DPC and they thought it was a chance to rewrite the regs book. That won't be the case here. It'll be simply, these are the proposed changes, they'll be highlighted and you'll be allowed to comment on them. And with that, if there is technical issues, we would always invite you to submit them through myself, Dave Forrester, any of the other technical advisors at Select, and we would run them through the Select Electro-Technical Committee. And again, if anybody's interested in that, you can participate and come along to these meetings if you wish. If you've got an interest, we hold these 4 times a year. So that's the sort of route for dealing with Amendment 2 and changes to the regs. So hopefully that information will be of some use to you. It gives you a wee heads up where some of the stuff is going. Any questions?
No questions? Okay, thank you very much, Bob.